So when I began to develop the practices, I looked at a traditional way that I normally would run a practice. I talked to a lot of coaches and how they run practices and how they put their players through different drills and challenges and have them play points. And interesting enough, when I was talking to Craig, he shared with me 3 tests that you could put to any practice to see if it was reflecting the data. Number 1, does what you're doing in practice actually happen in a match? Okay, are you gonna see this scenario in a match or something very, very close? And number 2, does it have to do with keeping score? Are you keeping score in your practices? Because you're going to keep score when you play match. So this has to be this introduction. There has to be some pressure of the score in your practice, whether you're scoring it. There's a lot of different ways you can score it, I'll get into that later and how we're scoring it in the Transforming the Practice Court mindset. The third is what you're doing in practice. Is it match court mindset and then practice court mindset? In other words, are you practicing technique in the context of playing points? Or are you just practicing technique in and of itself, almost separately? We found that with our players, there's actually a mental breakdown if they practice technique too much out of the context of actually keeping score. Does it have to do with winning and losing? And then is it match court mindset? Or are they going to do this in a match? So I'm finding that there's a disconnect mentally and emotionally when they don't keep score, or doesn't have to do with winning, like the challenge or the drill. I don't call them drills anymore, I call them challenges. So I kind of despise the word drill because it has to do with work, working hard, and I think you should play harder. I don't think work is the opposite of play. I think the opposite of play is depression. And if you feel like you're grinding too much as a kid, or even as a young adult, or even an older adult, there's this feeling of frustration comes more easily when you feel like you're having to work at something and you're not succeeding at it. So I've just been trying to get my players more in a play mindset. I say I want you to play harder, and let's leave work out of it. And there's been lots of studies on that with the National Institute of Play and Dr. Stuart Brown. So that play is really important. And play is a mindset, and I think we should get more into play. So that's I'm going off on a rabbit trail there. But anyway, it's such an integral part, though, about transformation, is there has to be play in practice. Play mindset, actually playing points, scoring them, and winning and losing, and experiencing that in practice as close as you can to what you would experience in a match. I mean, you can't get totally there, but you can get close. So I've been on this kind of vein lately, or this kick, where perfection versus improving to win more points. And so I think perfection is something that you can never obtain. I mean, no one's perfect. Last time I checked, there's really only one perfect person that ever walked the face of the earth, and it's not my name, or probably not your name watching. So striving for perfection, I think, is just it's pressure we don't need to put on ourselves, either as coaches or as players. If you're working on your stroke, that's one thing, but to try to think you're going to get it perfect and that's going to help you win more points, I think that's a lost battle there. You're going down a losing streak already. So improving to get better would be more like, are you making more shots than you were before? Is the technique holding up under pressure, under the pressure of scoring, of winning and losing? Because if you train technique in the context of playing the point, and we're talking like sections of points, so maybe you play the first 2 shots, you stop, you repeat. So it's a wash, rinse, repeat situation. Or you play up to 4 shots and you stop. and you do it again. And so the reason why transforming the practice score, we do it that way in the system, is that the 60% of the points on average, 6 out of 10 points in 0 to 4 shots. So that's only 2 shots on each side of the net. And then another 30% of the points are ending 5 to 8 shots, which is another 2 shots for each player. So 0 to 4 shots. So basically 4 shots maximum. That's 9 out of 10 points you're basically going to play in a match. You're only going to play about 1 to maybe even 2 points that are extended rallies in match play when you start adding up all the points. So to me, I began to look at the data and go, wait a minute, the practicing has to, we got to look at it a different way. At least for myself and the team of coaches that I'm working with now. And we're finding tremendous results with this, with our even as low as 6 and 7 years old. Even training a 6-7-year-old only on 4 shots max and then stopping and then doing it again, and then have them repeat that, playing 2 shots at a time. Mentally and emotionally, they're resetting better, they're focusing better, because obviously little kids don't have that much, their attention span is weak as it is, right? They don't focus for a long period of time, right? But they can focus on 2 shots and then reset, and we actually have them say reset out loud, so they start to get used to starting over. And especially in this generation where kids are playing lots of video games, and you'll play and then you die or get killed or lose a race, and the computer game resets. So they understand resetting. And so we're even seeing it with them where they can go and they can do 40 ball rallies. Why? Because they're doing 2 shots in a row, then resetting and doing 2 more. And so that's a part of the practice mindset that we're working into. And then we're creating lots of creative challenges around that with the serve and return and the beginning of the point. And kids are getting through the beginning phase of the point. They're getting through those first 2 shots more often, and when they play tournaments or play matches, it's whichever player can get through those first 2 shots more consistently over and over and over again is usually the player that's coming out on top in the score, because anybody who's ever played tennis knows that winning by a little is winning by a lot. And I wrote about this in a chapter in my book, 7 On-Court Strategies. Tennis is not a marathon in the sense that it goes on forever and ever. No, it's short bursts of point play, one after another.